This is Jets at Noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
I don't know if we've missed a month in the last 2 years where we haven't chatted. Whether I'm calling him or he's calling me, he's telling me about his golf game, or he's, we talk all the time, and he sees stuff. He'll phone me about something he sees two other teams playing, and he was working for the media, so I thought there was a little he was looking for inside scoops, but he was still like that's why I'm not overly surprised that he's going into Columbus, that he's been doing some TV, but he's watching games all the time, and critiquing things, and he's a close friend, and so that's something we've done prior to even us working together. We're always in constant communication.
Well, the news last night there's a hockey game to be played, an extremely important hockey game for the Winnipeg Jets. Every single one moving forward has the utmost importance and the need for urgency for the Winnipeg Jets, sitting second last in the Western Conference, needing to climb 7 spots to get into the postseason. This hour is brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road, and at washmethod.com. VIP text to win a VIP car wash from our good friends at Wash Method, which is coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio. Boston Pizza, saucy savings on pasta every day in January from only $11.99. But Rick Bowness, out of retirement.
Wow.
Game tonight, pregame at 5, play-by-play at 7. Islanders and Jets, again, an important game. But I don't know. It's surprising to me for sure, Jim, and I discussed that. It's on the exclusive edition of the podcast. If you heard me, I was on with Tyson Rewicki, filling in for Hal Anderson on Connecting Winnipeg at 11 o'clock. I gave my thoughts on that, but I wanted, of course, this is fairly big news, particularly in this market, Jim. And I just wanted to make sure we got your thoughts on it. Then we'll play some clips from Vladislav Domestikov, and then we'll play a clip from Josh Morrissey, and then we'll move on, of course, to tonight's game. But this is big news and happy news, I might say, because I'm a big fan of Rick Bowness.
Yeah, so am I, and I really appreciate the happiness that this has garnered with people. I think he's over 2,200 games coached now, or will be tonight when he takes on the Calgary Flames.
Most ever.
I hope he loses his debut because it's against the Calgary Flames. So, but this was stunning news to me. Like, I was shocked, and I immediately, I was driving home when I got a note, and I pulled over, and I'm like, "What is this?" And then they're like, "Hey, Rick Bowness is back." I'm like, "Wow." And so then I immediately, on the rest of my drive home yesterday afternoon, I was like, I remember him looking around after the series ended with Colorado. Remember Game 5?
I talked to him about that on the show.
Yeah. And he looked around and said, I just knew that this was it. And it was health reasons, right?
Yeah.
So for everybody who's, of course, the conspiracy theorists come out and go, the Jets and coaches and all this, him and his wife, Judy had some health issues that he took time away to be with her, but also when he wasn't taking time away and was back, it was hard. So they're both better for this and healthy. Life comes at you fast. I remember immediately him looking around that arena, and I thought, wow, that's a guy who this is it. And then he said so.
He told me that he did that after every season.
Yeah,
he said that wasn't,
because at his age, really, once you're 60 in this league, and I know there's people in their 70s and 80s in this league working, but once you're 60 and after that many years, I would presume you never know, right? And he didn't want to be an assistant anymore, like at this age. He was like, no, I'm going to, So I was stunned. But then I was immediately thought of him looking around the arena. I'm like, good for you. Like, life comes at you fast, right? You never know when you're going to get another opportunity, and things are better health-wise for him and his wife, Judy. So I'm happy for him. It's just ironic that it's Manitoban Dean Evison, because my second thought of Rick Bowness looking around the arena and taking it all in as his last game behind the NHL bench as a head coach, because we didn't know this was coming, I thought of when Dean Evison and him went at it over the benches in Minnesota, and Dean said, well, why don't you come on over? And Rick was fuming and yelling and, yeah, you want me to come over there, blah, blah. And then I wonder if he sent Dean a text and said, how about them apples? No, I'm just kidding. Like, they have mutual respect for each other and all that. But the other surprising thing about this, Cam, is I'm lost in this Columbus season because we're so focused on the Jets in the West. I had no idea they were in last.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Like, they were in a playoff spot for a while.
Yeah, they've taken a dip back. I just think they have such a good team. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm surprised that Dean Evison.
You have a better team. They're like the Jets. They have a better team than their record.
Yeah, and Ottawa is just above them in second last. But I'm surprised that Evison didn't get to roll the rest of the season out. I'm honestly surprised. But whenever
he did good things there.
That's right. And he went through a really tough year last year, and he got that team almost to a playoff spot. They were right there with the Habs at the end of the season. They ended up on the other side of it after all they went through with Johnny Gaudreau's passing and everything else. So I'm a little surprised. So, and whenever there's a sort of a surprising coaching firing like this with Dean Evason, and then even more surprising is Rick Bowness getting back behind the bench. But I always wonder if there's something else going behind the scenes. Like, I need you to play this guy. No, I'm not. And Dean Evason seems like that guy. It's like, no, this is my bench. This is my team. I'm going to run it the way that I want to run it. So that to me, I wonder if there's a little bit more context that we're not sort of privy to as to why there was a move that was changed.
Well, and he's a fixer, right? Like, he's not going to fix everything, but he's going to come in and guide. I mean, I would presume his job is to get him to the playoffs. Yeah. And you're in last. Otherwise, that's the other surprising start. Everybody's focused on Rick Bowness. I'm surprised they didn't let Dean try and figure this out.
Yeah.
But
that's the way it is. That's pro sports. 204-780-6868. Send us a text. Here's Vladislav Namestnikov on Bones finding another spot behind the bench in the National Hockey League.
He was here for a while and brought guys closer together, I guess, changed the coach a little bit. And, that's what Bones does. He did that in Dallas as well. So maybe they brought him in to do that in Columbus as well. So wherever he is, he does a wonderful job, and I'm just happy he's back.
It's kind of awkward saying, Jim, that he's they're asking him to do what he did in Winnipeg. And I know that this season has been, for the first half year, has been a disaster, and they're going to try and see if they can pull themselves out of it. I still believe they've dug themselves way too big of a hole here. But I mean, stranger things have happened.
It's not if they get out of the hole and make it, Cam, and I know a lot of people want the first overall pick. It's about how you play. Mm-hmm. It really is. To me, this is the rest of the season is what a lot of decisions are here, right? Like, Scott Arniel's got to right this ship, and the players got to right it too, because there's a lot weighing on this coming off season, and how you decide to approach the off season depends on the rest of the season.
But do you agree that Bones has got hired to do exactly what he did in those 2 years here in Winnipeg, in Columbus? 100%.
I picture Bones as Harvey Keitel in Pulp Fiction. He's Mr. Wolf. He's the cleaner. He's coming in to clean things up. And pardon me if he's curt.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is what he needs from you.
Yeah, exactly.
So time is of the essence.
Pretty pleased with the sugar.
Pardon me if I'm
with
curt.
The cherry on top, right?
But I'm not here to be friends. I'm here to get the dead carcass of last place out of the dressing room and into a playoff spot.
Is that what happened? They called and said, I'm 20 minutes away. I'll be there in 10. So they said, Rick, we need you here in 20 minutes. He says, I'll be there in 10. Is that what happened?
And one of the players in Columbus is going to go, look, man, to Boone Jenner, the captain, look, man, I'm not telling you I'm there yet. I'm just telling you I got a point where I'm not in the red, but I'm like a race car, and I can get there if this guy pushes me too much.
Here's Morrissey on if Bones is still felt in the locker room for the Winnipeg Jets.
For sure. I think, Bones sees the game in a special way, and, he's got a special talent for connecting with his players and conveying that message. So, it's pretty well documented. I love playing for him, and I think he really helped my career kind of go to another level and bring that out of me and other players, and consequently also our team. And so, I think a lot of the things that he instilled in us those years are still with our team, and definitely value the time we had with Bones as our coach.
Yeah, agree with everything Josh Morrissey said. Then, Jim, do you want any comment on that?
No, I think he resonates. I mean, I didn't need to hear that to know that. And I'm not saying I know more than anybody else. I'm not saying that. All you have to do is when they went to Florida and watch Rick Bowness show up at the practice, and the guy's coming out of the room and giving him hugs, not just shaking his hand and going, "Hey, Bones," like giving him hugs. Adam Lowry post-game interview in the playoffs with Bowness on TNT
after the Manitoba Miracle.
Bones, you're going to make me cry. Not because of his age solely. But they look at him like a father figure. He came in and he cared about that. And that's what coaching is, right? That's the hard thing Scott Arniel has to do here, is it's real easy to be a friendly coach, like even John Cooper.
Yeah.
When you're, you'll have your struggles every year, but when you're in the playoffs, when you have a season like this, the fine line is to be, look, I'm with you guys, but also a lot of you guys need to give me more. Mm-hmm. And there's a line of how many more times I'm going to ask you and how many more ways to give me more and play better than to just that. I want to address this too quickly if we can on the text line, because I think it's a fair question. Kevin says, Jim, explain why Scott Arniel has a job and Dean Evason doesn't. Well, it's real simple, and people forget this too when they talk about firing Kevin Cheveldayoff. And again, I'm not defending Kevin Cheveldayoff in the season this has been, but I am defending this franchise in the 15 years it's been here has had its 2 most successful seasons the last 2 years. They finished 4th overall in the National Hockey League 2 years ago and lost in the first round. They finished 1st overall in the National Hockey League last year and lost in the second round. Those are the 2 best seasons since the Jets have returned here, the most recent ones. Look at Columbus's record the last couple of seasons. Go to Buffalo and see why their GM got fired after 9 years, because they didn't make the playoffs for 9 years. We're in this with Stanley Cup expectations, so everybody wants everybody fired right now. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the bigger picture, you're 40-some games in a horrific season, coming off your 2 best. That's why he still has a job.
Yeah. I mean, it's
now, if this got to loss 17, 18, there comes a point, if it was 15, 16, 18 in a row, where regardless of all that, you have to make something. But the reason he still has a job is he just won 2 games, and it's 40 games in to something that this coach, this GM has put together that's pretty significant the past 2 years.
I still believe that even if this came down to it, I still think Scott O'Neill, like, if this season goes and it continues, okay, they won 2 in a row, but if they put together an exact same or similar records to the first half of the season, the second half, do you still think Scott O'Neill is going to be coaching this team next year? I think there's I think there's a light. Listen, I think that's a coin flip. I agree. I think it's a coin flip. I think there's an equal chance that he still is the coach of this team and an equal chance that he isn't.
I think Scott O'Neill is safe, and I've said it all year long. But to a point, they've won 2 in a row. They lose another 13 in a row right now, like now, starting tonight. There comes a point. But they're not there yet because, look, he literally won the President's Trophy with them last season. So if you want to weigh the 40 games, you have to weigh in the 82 in the second round last year, and then you put them all together and you go, where are we? Mm-hmm. Now, again, I think they have to win, say, 5 of the next 7, 4 of the next 7. Something like that.
Yeah.
But if they go on another, like if they right now start tonight an 8-game losing streak, then you really have to look at it. But that's why he still has a job.
Call the Boston Pizza Jets Noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Boston Pizza, where it's Pasta Tuesday every day this January from only $11.99. Hungry for saucy savings, hungry for BP. The number 1 caller will be awarded a $50 gift card to Boston Pizza on Friday. These are line rushes today at the morning skate. Connor, Scheifele, Iafallo, Perfetti, Taves, and Velarde. The second line just getting some chemistry going. That's not going to change. Niederreiter, Lowry, Nemestikov on the third line. Kepke, Zhilkin, Pearson, a Barron in a non-contact jersey. Morrissey, DeMello, Sandberg, Nyquist in Pionk's spot. Stanley, Shen, and then Isaak Phillips, who has been recalled for the Manitoba Moose. As defenseman Collin Miller has been placed on injured reserve retroactive to January 11th. We'll talk about that when we come back after the break, and we'll talk about Isaak Phillips here. But here's Pionk, and are we still going to see him tonight?
That's top secret.
It's top secret, according to Scott O'Neill.
Come on.
You know what? When you have somebody like Nyquist filling in on line rushes, the odds of
know in 6 hours. Come on.
The odds of Neil Pionk playing tonight are a very high likelihood.
You think
I would
so?
Say. Oh yeah.
I don't know.
You don't think so? You think Isaak Phillips is coming in? He's going to be playing with Dylan Sandberg?
Islanders are a playoff team right now, and they're not easy, but I mean, I don't know. The ominous part about this to me, Cam, is he didn't played, and now this. So they could just, your point, he's not going to take morning skates and he's going to play games until he gets fully healthy, or didn't go well or whatever. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays.
Yeah.
But I don't know what they're thinking.
We'll wait and see.
But Isaak Phillips is up.
Yeah, of course, Collin Miller on IR. Everybody apparently is day to day, according to Scott O'Neill. But Hayden Fleury isn't even on the ice yet, so I mean that's going to be a longer process. Phillips, 25 over the last 4 seasons. He was acquired in a trade from Chicago for Dmitry Kuzmin. He's 24 years old. This year, 33 games played for the Moose, 3 goals, 13 points, plus 3. I'm going to ask you if you're surprised by that. if you were surprised that he was called up over Ville Heinola or Elias Salomonsson. Don't answer. Don't answer. 204-780-6868, 204-780-6868. I'll get Jim's thoughts on that when we come back. After that, Alan Fuehring, the Islanders play-by-play voice, is going to be joining us. His first trip to Winnipeg. So everybody treat him nice if you see him out there. I want to talk to him about lots. But you got to talk about Matthew Schaefer. I mean, what he's done for this Islanders team. It's like he's giving them hope. I want to ask Alan that exact question when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
There's a lot of 18-year-olds who could look up to Adam Schaefer. Like, I got to get a job.
At noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Alan Fuehring, play-by-play voice of the Islanders, is going to be joining us. I want to find out the impact that Matthew Schaefer has had on that organization. Over his short time. He's only 18 years old. But, Jim, I wanted to ask you what you thought of the call-up of Isaak Phillips from the Manitoba Moose with Collin Miller going on IR over Ville Heinola and Elias Salomonsson.
Well, I think to your point, I think he might not be playing tonight. That's why. And I think they want to keep him in the – Ville Heinola's had a good couple of games with the Moose from what I understand, including a real nice goal the other night. So I think it's just added forward and stuff. But maybe he gets in. I don't know. Like, that's why I think they're going to leave Salomonsson and Heinola there to play.
Yeah.
And Isaak was called up, A, because he's probably having a good season, A.
Yeah.
But B, because he may get in, he may not.
Yeah, the Moose are on a road trip right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they flew him back, and they want the Moose and those guys to keep developing and playing well. Look, if this continues to go awry, and I'm not saying when there's 5 games left. I think when there's 15 games left and they're out of the playoffs, these guys get called up and they play.
Let's find out about the Islanders when we come back.
Toth on 680 CJOB.
Yeah, it's special. I think obviously everyone started to hear about him as the years progressed, and tried to watch a bunch of their games throughout the season. And I mean, yeah, he's a special player. What he's doing as an 18-year-old defenseman is remarkable, and he's so dynamic. All over the ice. So he's going to be a great player for a long time. And I think to think he's only 18, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, it's blown everybody's mind. 18-year-old.
Yeah, I got to admit, I thought it was a mistake when they kept him, and then I saw him. And, it's interesting.
You have to be undeniable, and he's undeniable.
It's interesting, too. Zach Pareka at the World Juniors was arguably not just the defenseman, was one of the best players on the ice. And he's in Calgary, and I thought keeping him might be a mistake because at the World Junior level, he's obviously already elite.
Yeah.
But then in the NHL, he's a 5'6" defenseman with Calgary, right? But again, I know they want to make the playoffs, but they're not going to be a playoff team, and so you put them out there at 5'6" and blah, blah. But Schaefer's undeniable. Like when you're in the top pairing and running the power play at 18, I don't care if you're on the worst team in the planet, that's saying something.
This hour is brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road and washmethod.com. VIP text. Win a VIP car wash from my good friends at Wash Method, which is coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio. Boston Pizza, saucy savings on pasta every day in January from only $11.99. Very happy to bring Alan Fuehring onto the program. He is the Islanders play-by-play voice. Hey, Alan, how are you?
Hey, Jim. Hey, Cam. How are you guys? Thanks so much for having me.
Well,
thanks for
my pleasure. Thanks for popping on. We want to talk, obviously, about Matthew Schaefer. I'm sure you're sick of talking about him already, or maybe you're just getting going. But I want to talk to you about you guys were the team was down in the Minneapolis area, and they were playing a little pond hockey, and that was pretty cool to see what was going on there.
Yeah. Well, first off, we are never sick and tired of talking about Matthew Schaefer. It just never gets old. He's an incredible player. I'm sure we'll talk more about him. But, yeah, our captain, Anders Lee, had the idea right when the schedule came out back in June, as a matter of fact. He looked at the schedule. He always looks for that Minnesota trip for, obviously, personal reasons and family reasons, and that's where he's from. But he noticed an extra day off there in between Minnesota and Winnipeg, and so he immediately got on the phone with Matthew Darche, who at that point was very, very early on into his Islanders GM tenure, and said, basically, hey, this is what I want to do. When we get to this point in January, I want to have the full team over to my house. I want to do a little pond hockey. I want to host everybody, watch some football, and just have a great day. And it originated way back in June, and now here we are a couple of days after that happened. Anders bought a new house in Edina, Minnesota, not too far at all from the rink there in St. Paul, as you guys probably know. And basically with Sunday, it was a day off for the team anyway. And so he sent a text message out to everybody right before the trip and said, make sure you bring some kind of hockey sweater that you may have in your closet. Maybe it's a sweater that you've had since your childhood. And, we're going to play a little pond hockey after the game in Minneapolis or in Minnesota. So great day for the guys. What a great team building event. Not something that was, something put on by the team. It was more at a players only level, and they invited a lot of the support staff out there with them. So just an amazing gesture from the captain, a great day had by all. And, something that if this team wasn't already one of the closest in the league, I think it may put them over the top. I mean, this team will fight and claw and die for each other. They're as close as I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me. It just seemed like everybody was out there just having a great time, and those images went all over the internet here. And last year, it was a disappointing season last year, but now I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, Matthew Schaefer, this kid comes into the organization. He's 18 years old. The Islanders win the draft lottery. He goes first overall, right? And I don't think anybody understood the impact that he was going to have on this team. And now it's not just one guy, particularly a teenager. He's not in there rah, 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 unless you're telling me that he is, running that locker room. But listen, the team is in second place in an ultra competitive Metropolitan. They're 5 points back of Carolina. And I know things are real tight in the East, but I mean, man, there must be a real good feeling with this team right now and in that locker room and on this roster.
Yeah, you're spot on. I mean, the turnaround from last year certainly starts with Matthew Schaefer, no question. It does not end with him, but it's the obvious start. I mean, he has made this team so much better in so many different areas, and he is not at all the rah-rah 18-year-old. He keeps to himself, relatively quiet, but he's fun, he's goofy. He's just a kid. That's what it boils down to. And, he hates talking about his own stats and his accomplishments. He really just hates talking about himself. He wants to talk about the team, which is really great to hear. So mature for an 18-year-old. And, now all of a sudden, even in the last few weeks, we've seen, teams are going to be more physical with him. They're going to try to slow him down. And, the guys on this club that have been around for years aren't taking lightly to that, and they're not going to stand for it. And we've seen, Matt Barzell, he used to be the young kid that got picked on all the time. He's the one now going and standing up for Matthew Schaefer, and he's, quote unquote, turned into an enforcer in a way. So, everything about this team is different from last year, off the ice, on the ice, in the locker room. I mean, it's just so great to see, and it all starts with Matthew Schaefer, and it's just because he is such a breath of fresh air when it comes to his abilities on the ice, but also his ability to, just be friends with anyone off of it. And, I think for him, he's certainly still got a ways to go, which is great. I mean, on the ice, he hasn't reached the ceiling yet, which is kind of scary, I think, for a lot of the other teams. But, at that same point, like everything on the ice that he's working to improve on, he couldn't be a better person, a better human being off the ice.
Well, and it's refreshing, too, in this day and age where we see whether it's Gauthier or even Rutger McGroarty here in Winnipeg, I don't want to play there. Like, if there was a guy in this day and age who could wield some power, it's Matthew Schaefer. He could literally demand some things or don't. So that's the refreshing part off the ice, I find, with him, as well as his play on the ice. It's outstanding because we like to think of Winnipeg as the Long Island of Canada. Do we not?
Yeah, we do. We say that all the time. Yeah.
Long Island iced teas and Long Island, New York of Canada. That's what we say all the time. But I want to know, the impact on this team, because obviously they're 25-15-5 and having a really good season under Patrick Waugh. So in a way of asking about Schaefer, when you get an 18-year-old who can make this kind of an impact, how has it changed the team than what you thought it would be when a rookie came in? And what I mean by that is just that it probably adds depth on the blue line. It adds depth on the power play, things like that. Has his presence and the way he's playing really helped the overall picture of the Islanders this year?
Yeah, no question. It makes it way deeper. I mean, I don't think anybody right out of the gates expected him to be playing 27 minutes a night and to be the top guy on the power play. He's getting some penalty kill time too. I mean, he has depth in almost every area and he's leading the team in time on ice. He's playing significant minutes, and he's playing tough minutes too. He's playing against some of the top guys on the other side, and he hasn't backed down at all. So, I mean, I don't know where the team would be at right now without him. Certainly with Alex Romanov going down for the regular season for sure, and even Kyle Palmieri on the offensive side out for the year due to injury. I mean, this team would be in a really tough spot, but, Matthew Schaefer, again, he's not the end of what's been turned around, but he certainly has started it. And, and again, like he's got the presence in the locker room, even as an 18-year-old, to say, you know what, it's not always going to be my night, but it's going to be somebody else's night. Somebody in this room is going to be able to step up. And I guess where he comes in his vocal sometimes is in the fact that he's like, look, like, I'm going to do what I can to help this team, and it might not be my night. Over the course of 82 games, I'm probably going to have some off nights, which not a lot of 18-year-olds will be right up front and say, look, like, I'm going to have some good nights and I'm going to have some bad nights. But, he's very good about looking at other guys in the room and say, you know what, it's not going to be me and it shouldn't be me, but somebody else in this room is going to step up. And time again, we've seen that happen where, like in Minnesota, Simon Holmstrom stepped up and had the overtime winner and 3 points in that one. So this team is way deeper than it was last year. And again, like I think Schaefer does have a pretty significant hand in helping that.
I just want to end before we let you go on with a question about Elias Sorokin. I have a soft spot for really good goalies who go through the dark times and help a team and put up fantastic numbers. How is his play this year, and how much is the team play in front of him helping him? Because when you go through some of the things he has as the quality goalie he's been, it must be a really good season for him to have this kind of a team in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the MVP of this team at this point in the year. He got off to a kind of a rocky start, but he's found his footing. He's, set the all-time shutouts record now for the Isles. He's tied for the league lead there. He's Elias Sorokin. He's what he's always been. He's just so good, so reliable. And the team out in front of him has helped him this year. But I mean, even in, the Islanders just beat the Devils 9-0. And usually in a 9-0 game, you're talking all about offense. But in that one, the focus was strangely more about what happened in net, and Sorokin making 44 saves. And, a 9-0 win is a lot better than a 9-1 win. And so, time and time again, the guys in the room talk about just it's Ilya being Ilya. And we can go out and we can play a little bit more freely because we know that he's got our back time and time again. So, I think he's the MVP of the team so far this year, and it depends on what poll you're looking at or who you talk to, but a lot of folks have Sorokin as the front runner right now in the Vezina race. So, he's been incredible, and every single night, it doesn't matter what happens out in front of him. If Sorokin's on, it's going to be really tough to beat the Isles.
Islanders play-by-play voice, Alan Fuehring, joining us. Alan, thanks so much for your time, and hey, appreciate you. Enjoy your first trip here to Winnipeg.
Awesome. Yeah, first timer. I guess I hit a heat wave, right?
Yes.
No. It's like this all the time. We swear. Thanks, Alan.
Next week.
Yeah, take care, man.
Yeah, Alan, congratulations on the gig, too, and have a great call tonight. We really appreciate your time.
204-780-6868. Miss your chance. Get your thoughts on the show today. Call the Boston Pizza Jets Noon Hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Boston Pizza, where it's Pasta Tuesday every day this January from only $11.99. Hungry for saucy savings, hungry for BP. The number one caller will be awarded a $50 gift card to Boston Pizza on Friday. Let's take a break. Let's come back. On the other side, I hope I can squeeze in at least a portion of a one-on-one that Kelly Moore had with Matthew Schaefer. You're going to want to hear that on the other side. As well, we're going to give away our VIP text, our VIP car washer, our VIP texter. We'll discuss that when we come back.
680 CJOB.
What is the secret sauce, or is there any secret sauce to all these overtime and game-winning goals? You just seem to have that knack to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, I love like when it's 3-on-3 or 4-on-4, things like that, because there's so much more ice, so much more time to move. And then when you're working with a lot of talented guys, and you just get your speed going, you find open lanes, and you just make plays. It's probably some of the most fun hockey you can play when it's lots of room and lots of area on the ice to move around with.
That was a taste of Kelly Moore's one-on-one, mano-a-mano with Matthew Schaefer, which you'll hear on the pregame show later today. 5 o'clock pregame, puck drop at 7 o'clock.
I'll say more like grandpa to grandson.
Mano-a-mano. Kelly Moore
can I do that?
Versus Matthew Schaefer. Yeah. Skating contest. Who's faster?
Who's wiser? And I say that jokingly, but I mean, what a treat for a guy like Kelly Moore, who's literally seen and done it all.
Yeah,
to sit down with an 18-year-old phenom again.
I'll tell you this: during their one-on-one, he mentions Bobby Orr in it. So, anyways, you want to hear the whole thing, so make sure you tune in for the pregame show. Let's go to our VIP text. This one comes from John, who says, yesterday you guys talked a little bit about the Hershey Bears little guys having that all-out brawl. We both agree that we did not like it, nothing about it that we liked. John goes on to say, I played hockey my entire life. Fighting in hockey is an old-school mentality. Anywhere else in society, you would get arrested as an adult for fighting. Why is it okay on the ice? More importantly, our kids mimic everything that we do as adults. Why would we teach them that fighting is okay and acceptable in hockey? Today's players coming up the ranks are more about skill and finesse. Well, first of all, if you've been playing hockey your whole life, John, then you must know the clowns in beer league who think that they can just go in there just to fight. Nobody wants to play hockey with those guys. I mean, you see, if those guys are on your team, you quickly move on from players like that, and it's just, that's not fun for anybody. So if that's specifically what you're talking about, well, I would agree with you on that. But I will say this. I have a 1-year-old right now, and I will tell you, he is watching everything that I do, and he is mimicking absolutely everything. He had like a piece of clothing, and he's trying to wrap it around his neck, not in a bad way, but like the way that I wear a scarf. And he was doing that yesterday, and I'm like, oh, it's just like another reminder that he's watching everything that I do. But I would say this, John, this is just where I'm feeling from it. You can't let players playing a game on television dictate the values that you instill on your kids. You have to have conversations with them. And that's where this ends. The NHL, 99% of players agree that fighting is a part of the game. And I will refer to them every single time whenever this conversation comes up. I know enough that I look to the players to say, is fighting acceptable? They say so. I refer to them. Fighting is there. There's so many things on TV that you need to have conversations with your kids about. And if you're just totally moving all those conversations, like you want the world to be the way that you want your kids to see it, you're missing the boat, and you're not going to be teaching them the right things. So yeah, fighting is not a good thing for kids.
Yeah, I agree. And so to John, first of all, John, you can't equate, if you've played your whole life, the game of hockey to society. You can't cross-check a guy on the street either. You can't trip him. You can't spear him. You can't slash him.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't equate. So forgive me. I get lost on that point. Hockey has its rules and its penalties, and it's on the ice, and nobody's asking it to be a part of society. Fighting is part of the game at the National Hockey League level. Always has been, always will be. The last time they voted on this was years ago now, but it was 97% of the NHLPA wanted to keep it into it. And I can tell that there's momentum changes. It has a factor, all that. But I am disgusted by this 8-year-old thing in Hershey.
I hate it.
And I had Ken Campbell on, freelance writer and longtime contributor to the Hockey News, talking about how he was hearing it from parents and stuff too. I have a 5-year-old who loves watching the Canada Cup and thinks that fighting is hilarious, and he's on the ice for the first time this year. And I'm like, no, there's no fighting. Stop it. Not till you're an adult and blah, 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 and all that. But if two grown men who know the risks in the National Hockey League want to do it, they do it. Nobody's stopping the UFC. Nobody's protecting themselves from themselves for that. It's part of hockey, whether you like it or not, because the players want it to be.
People want the world to reflect what it isn't. And if you are deferring, we got to go here. If you're deferring the National Hockey League to parent your kids, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Like
I said, my kid watches it and I sit down with him and I'm like, no, Thomas, this isn't part of it.
Thank you very much, Brayden Wasco, for producing the show. Hey, enjoy the game tonight. Puck drop at 7 here on 680 CJOB. See ya.